Captain's Log, stardate 201009.26. It's been about 3 weeks since the last Captain's Log. We've been really busy, been doing tons of stuff. Since the last Captain's Log, we've had hero support, and we've had the website come up, and we've put up the announcement for who reviews the reviewers. So tons of stuff going on. Sorry, it's been a while since I've had a Captain's Log, and I'll fit in as much stuff into this one as I can, and anything I miss, I'll talk about later on. So I'm going to jump right in then to TV, and I watched just a couple of things. Not a whole lot of new stuff that's really appealing to me, kind of like Vince said in his blog. But and a lot of the stuff I was watching ended last season. So specifically 24 and Lost are over now. So looking for new possible shows. If anything is striking people that maybe I just don't know about yet, leave a comment, let me know. But I'll probably check out Terriers on Vince's recommendation, because that sounds really, really interesting. But anyway, so I watched the first episode of Chuck for this season, and I don't know, I feel like that show has kind of run out of ideas. I don't know if I'm in the minority on this or not, but I'm bugged by the fact that it feels I need to change the status quo every couple episodes. It was having that problem a lot last season, and I feel like maybe that's not going to go away, and I'm not loving that. Chuck was such a solid premise in the beginning, and by the way, it isn't that I don't like shows that are archy and are can be fluid and constantly changing, but it's this really interesting comedy drama that it had such a cool format that I hadn't really seen before at the beginning, that I didn't want it to be changed all the time. And I feel like every couple episodes, Chuck's a spy. Now he's not a spy. Now he's a spy again. He's dating Sarah. Now he's not dating Sarah. Now he is again. Okay, well, I mean, now they're not going to do the off again, on again thing with Sarah anymore, so that's good. But all the stuff that they kind of set up at the end of last season, which I thought was going to potentially lead to a new kind of status quo, they've kind of just gone back on, and they've kind of gone back to a kind of sort of their old status quo, but then not really. So I don't know. I'm not loving that. They blew up the Buy More at the end of last season, and now they just rebuilt it again. And I don't feel terrible about spoiling that, because if you missed that episode, it looks like the Buy More is just there again. I mean, it's different because now they've got all CIA agents, working at the Buy More now and stuff. And I guess that's kind of funny, but I don't know. I had already kind of felt like the show jumped the shark, and now it's just jumping the shark even more. I think maybe part of my frustration too is that the second season ended so well that I felt like they were going to have to really push hard to live up to that, because if it had gotten canceled at the end of the second season, it would have had a great, great last episode, even with the cliffhanger. And I'm afraid that it's not going to end on a high note now when it ends, because the third season was really rocky. It was really roller coastery, where it had this really great run in the middle of 6 episodes that were just astounding, and then everything surrounding it was bipolar, in my opinion. So anyway, I'll keep mentioning Chuck as I'm watching it, because I'll keep on it. I mean, it's not terrible. It's still got its moments. It's still fun. And I still like a lot of the actors and the characters that are in the show. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's what it once was. So anyway, I know I'm being a little bit vague. This isn't a full review. But anyway, so hopefully it gets a little bit better. Watch the first episode of The Event, which I didn't think I was going to watch, but I went ahead and gave it a shot. It really is kind of one of those shows that's trying to, follow in the success of Lost, and it was a lot better than I thought it would be. I'll probably continue watching it just to see where it goes. It's a lot better than, or at least out the gate, it seems to be a lot better than Flash Forward. Flash Forward, I felt like, was trying to be like the stupid person's Lost, where it was I mean, it wasn't awful. It had its interesting ideas and stuff, but the problem was I felt like while watching it, I was being spoon-fed constantly, where it was okay, in case you forgot this important thing we want you to know, here's a flashback, and they did that constantly. Don't forget about this; it's an important symbol. And the event so far isn't doing that, so that's good. It does seem like it's giving a little bit more credit to its viewers. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. I'm sort of kind of recommending it. But maybe give it a shot if you like weird, twisty, mystery sorts of things, and if you like non-linear shows, because surprisingly, it is pulling off the non-linear thing pretty well. The thing I like that it does differently than Lost, even though it's non-linear, is that it'll give you a scene of what is the present, and then it'll give you a scene from the same characters and tell you in the past. It'll be a flashback, but it'll tell you exactly how long ago it happened so that you can piece all this stuff together. Whereas Lost would just give you stuff in random points and you had to try to guess when exactly it happened, which was all well and good for Lost, but I'm just glad that that this thing came up with kind of its own unique format. So I mean, it'll have a couple characters and it'll say it'll be the present, and then it'll have another thing and it'll be like 8 days earlier, and these events will be very obviously connected, and you can tell it makes sense. You can tell why they're giving you this when they are. I immediately was annoyed by it at first because it does start out on an airplane, and I thought that was a little wrong. It was a little too obvious. Like, really, you're going to do something that feels a little losty, and then you're going to start with an airplane, and especially one that looks like maybe it's going to crash. Anyway, I don't want to give anything away about the show, which is why I'm not telling you exactly what happened in it, other than to say that I really didn't think it was going to do anything supernatural whatsoever, and it kind of does by the end. So, maybe give it a shot. Maybe try it out. We'll see where it goes. Okay, other new stuff. Been playing Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Played through about half of it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I know some people are mixed on it. I know some people really like it. Some people really don't like it. It's got a few camera issues here and there. I feel like every Spider-Man game has kind of had that though. So it can get irritating, but I'm a really laid back kind of gamer. I'm not a real big, heavy, hardcore gamer. So I feel like anytime I have issues with cameras or controls and things, a lot of times I feel like it's probably my fault and not the games. So take that with a grain of salt. This is the reason that I don't review video games a lot, because it's hard for me to be real critical about a video game. I figure if it's playable and I'm actually beating levels, then it must be sort of okay, because I'm not that good at video games to begin with. I really like the variety of gameplay with Shattered Dimensions. I thought that the 4 different dimensions were going to be a little bit too gimmicky, and I'm pleasantly finding that it's not. You've got all 4 of these different dimensions that work kind of differently, and yet the controls for each of the Spider-Man are pretty much the same, and then they have the extra elements. So because it's not separated out, each one like one at a time. You play. It's kind of arcadey, really, the way it works, because you play through the first amazing level, Amazing Spider-Man level, and then it opens up the other 3 levels, the next 3 levels for the different dimensions. And you can pick and choose which one you play when, which is kind of cool. And so it's not jarring going between them. There are different things that you have to remember for each of them, but it's not like an entirely different control set for each, and so I like that. The noir section is some people's favorites and some people's least favorite, because some people really like the stealth mode on it, and some people think the stealth thing is too simplistic. It's like the poor man's Arkham Asylum. I like that it's easy because I'm not that good at video games, so I really enjoy it. I like the fact that I can do a silent takedown from a lot further away than I can in Batman, because you've got webbing, so you can do that. I think the 2099 stuff though is just my favorite. A lot of because of what it looks like. It's really cool to look at. It's really fun to see that costume again. And I really like I like all the voices, but I really like the voice of Spider-Man 2099. And I like that they created new 2099 versions of some of the old Spider-Man villains. Like there's a 2099 Hobgoblin now, and he's really cool. So I don't know. They're all really cool. Amazing is cel shaded, and it looks really cool. I thought Ultimate was going to be the annoying one, because honestly, like, they saved that for the end. Telling us in advertising like which dimensions they were going to do, and they made a really big deal out of what's the fourth one going to be, and they came out and said, oh, it's Ultimate, which was like the really obvious pick, and I thought maybe one of the first ones they should have said. Like, I think they should have waited and mentioned 2099 at the end, because that was a big deal for me. I was like, really, 2099? Like, that's awesome. I couldn't believe they did it. I mean, it's not something that a lot of fans even really know about or talk about much. I mean, a lot of newer Spider-Man fans. So that the fact that they were going back to that was really, really cool to me. And so when they announced Ultimate, it was enough to make me almost not even want to get the game. I was like, really? Like, that's just so obvious. A lot of people were saying cool things like, oh, maybe they'll do zombies, maybe they'll do this. Nope, it was Ultimate. Having said that, the Ultimate doesn't even really feel like Ultimate. It really just sort of feels like black costume Spider-Man, but it's a cooler version of the black suit than I've seen in other games. And so I'm not even thinking Ultimate when I'm playing it. I'm just thinking, oh, in this dimension, you play as the black suit Spider-Man. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. After a while, the formula feels maybe a little bit redundant. Is maybe the only big complaint that I might have about it. It's not a huge problem, but it's just after a while, it's kind of weird that every level you're chasing after a villain, and then you fight some minions, and then I mean there's a lot of other stuff that happens too. There's a lot of platforming and web zipping and stuff that happens, but and then in the middle of the level you fight the villain, and then you chase him some more and you do some other stuff, and then at the end you fight him again, and then you steal this piece of tablet from him so you can save the universe or whatever. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. It's a different sort of Spider-Man game. I like the open world Spider-Man games, but it's fun to get something a little bit different. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a second part because I got a lot of comics to talk about. So I will see you in just a second.